Alright, I'm going to explain how to do the checkpoint 2 for our citizen science project. As always, start with looking at the summary of what you're going to turn in, and there's two things here for this checkpoint. Number 1 says make 6 observations in the observation box, so right here. I'll show you how to do that in a second. And number 2 says complete all 3 charts in the interpreting data boxes. So down at the bottom, here's my interpreting data, and I have 1, 2, 3 charts to fill in down there. All right, so for our first bit of data, right here tells you how to get the C, B, or A. I'm always going to explain the C level, and if you want the B or A level, read for that and shoot for that on your own. We're going to log into a camera trap in Mount Gorongosa. So they have recorded camera trap footage of different areas of Mount Gorongosa, and your job is to look at the first photo that appears, identify the animal in it, and write down 6 observations. 2 about the animal, 2 about their behavior, and 2 about the environment. Make sure they're complete sentences, and a good observation it's a fact from one of your senses, so something you can see. You know for a fact there are 2 baboons in this picture. The baboons are walking, the baboons are eating, things like that. The environment, there are trees in the environment, there are grasses in the environment, things like that. Those would be the kind of observations we're looking for. So when I click on that link, it takes me to the WildCam. And the first thing I need to do is scroll down a little bit and click this Get Started WildCam Gorongosa button. So I click it, and it takes me right to where I need to be. You can read through this. It'll explain what's going on. You should read through this on your own. There's 5 little hints that'll help you kind of know what you're doing here, and you'll need to use these a lot in the final product. Today we're just kind of practicing, but you do need it in the final product. All right, so this picture popped up for me. My job is to identify this. Now you might not know what this is, but there's a list down here of animals it could be. So if I'm totally clueless, I say it's a lion. Oh, there's a picture of a lion. Clearly it's not that. So I hit cancel and I go back to my list. I can also click on what shape does it look like. Does it look like this? Well, it looks like that to me. And then it opens the options that you have. To me, that looks just like that. It's a baboon. So on my checkpoint, here I'll write baboon, so I know which animal you had. And now I'm going to start filling out some information to help the scientists. How many baboons are there? There's 1. What behaviors do I see? If I hit the play button over here, it will show me like the footage of a split second or 2 that it was in front of this. So I can see it was moving, and there are no young present. Don't hit identify yet or you'll lose your picture. And remember, in your checkpoint, you need 6 observations. So for my observations, I can put there's 1 baboon in the picture. That's a fact that I see. The baboon is walking. There's another fact about its behavior. An observation about the baboon itself. The baboon has a bent, long tail. Okay. What about the environment? We said we have to make some observations. There are at least 4 large trees in the picture, and there are grasses in the picture. There's a pile of dirt in the picture. Anything like that would count. Once you've put all 6 observations here in complete sentences, you can hit identify and hit done, and it will take you to a new picture. You don't have to identify more than 1, but if you wanted to, or if you had difficulty coming up with 6 observations from 1 picture, you could make some observations, like 3 from 1 picture, and then just put these 3 are from picture 2 of whatever animal. All right, so that takes care of the C level. Remember, you also need to do, I almost misspoke, you need to make a testable question based on your observation. The hint to that, what would you like to learn more about as an ecologist about this animal that you saw? So my testable question might be, how much food does a baboon eat in an average day? I could test that. I could observe them and figure out how much food they ate. So that could be a question for mine. And that would take care of my C level. If I had another testable question, I would get a B, and then you can read how to get an A up here. All right, so that's part one of our summary of what to turn in. And we also have another bit of data to fill out these 3 boxes. So this says we're going to open this link, and then it tells us click on enter the Wildcam Gorongosa, and then something will open up. We hit Explorer, and we'll show you some things when we get there that'll help you fill in these charts. So it said Wildcam Gorongosa, hit the enter under that. It said hit Explorer, so I'm going to hit Explorer. And now here's how we read this. I'm zooming in now. On the bottom left here, the color of the land underneath all of the dots represents the type of vegetation or plant life that live there. So if we look at this dark green, all this area over here would be Miombo woodland. This lighter green, all of this area would be that next color, mixed savanna and woodland. So I just look over here to see what it is. And I also have some of this light green, which it says is floodplain grassland. That's all I really see in this particular picture that popped up for me. All right, these orange dots represent 6 cameras, traps, pictures taken at that specific area. Now let's see what that matters for our project. It says you're going to click on 2 different orange dots that have different vegetation types. So I clicked on one in this light green. That would be the floodplain grassland, because I clicked on one of these that's right there in the floodplain. So I would write floodplain grassland here. And then I need to write animal observations, environmental observations, and any other data that pops up when I click on that dot. So let me click on this one. Here's my pictures. And I can say there are 2, if you don't know specifically what kind, you can put monkeys or primates holding hands in the one picture. There's 3 primates or monkeys walking in this picture. There's a deer-like animal walking at nighttime. Notice we also want to talk about the environment, because what I just said were all animal observations. Environmental observations, well, what environmental observations do we see? There are small trees, bushes, and grasses in this environment. Okay, that works. And it says any other data. Well, they give you the other data. I don't care about that longitude and latitude, but you could put things like how far they are from water, what is the nearest water, are they near humans, that sort of thing in your other data part. Remember, you need 2 different areas, 2 different types of vegetation. We picked one in the light green, then I could pick one here in the darker green, or even over here in the really dark green. And then I would do the same thing, observations about the animals, the environment, and extra data. So that takes care of this box. This says we can filter what we see. So it says we're going to choose 2 filters to activate, and then select 2 new camera locations on the map and do a similar thing. What's the vegetation? What are the animals observations? And what are the environmental observations? So filters, if I select down, it gives me some options. Filter the species, habitat, seasons, or time of day. You can pick any one you want. I don't care. It says you're going to pick 2 different ones. So for my first, I want to see some elephants. So now they're showing me these are the only areas, these orange dots, where there are elephants. Okay, I'm going to pick one. And when I do, there we go. It pops up with my elephant pictures. So here I would put filter was elephant. The vegetation type, how do I know? Well, it says here, mixed savanna and woodland. And also before I clicked on it over here, it was in that color of green, so it told me there. I am going to give observations about the elephants and observations about their environment. When I finish with that, I can close it out, pick a new filter, perhaps one of these, perhaps the seasons, whatever you want, and do the same thing. Finally, you're going to use a Venn diagram down here to compare differences and similarities between the vegetation types from either box. So you'll either compare and contrast the vegetation types you saw here, 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 or here. So you'll list vegetation type 1. Maybe you picked the Miamba woodland. So you write that there. Vegetation type 2, maybe you looked at something in the floodplain grassland, so you put that here. You tell me what you see in each that's different, and then here, what's similar? Do they both have trees? Do they both have grasses? Things like that. And that's all there is for this checkpoint.